Hey, you guys, it is another lovely day for distance learning, and we are going to continue on with our narrative writing unit. Now, before we actually dive into the big piece of this, like the middle part, we've worked on the beginning, we've worked on the end. I want to talk about a few things that you may run into as you go. One of them is going to be dialogue, right? We've talked about this. Dialogue is that we see the stories and things that we read where somebody is talking. That's what's called dialogue. Okay. So as you guys are writing your narrative piece later this week, I do want you guys to keep a few things in mind. Rules for dialogue and writing. Okay. So number one. Always, you guys use quotation marks around direct speech. So anytime somebody is talking, put them in quotation marks. Okay, thanks. Okay, rule number 2, punctuation goes inside the quotation marks. Usually you're going to see a comma, but a question mark or an exclamation point might come up once in a while, and a period is still needed at the end of a sentence. So, for example, I pulled this one up here. Our friend Jake is asking, what time is it? So you can see that there are quotation marks around the thing that Jake actually said, and that question mark goes inside those quotation marks. Okay, and then ask Jake, obviously, we're still going to end that with a period, but you're going to make sure that that punctuation goes inside the quotation mark. Okay. Rule number 3, you're going to use commas to identify when direct speech is occurring. Okay, so we talked about that direct speech has to be in quotation marks. Well, if you're writing a sentence, you have to use a comma to kind of separate out that dialogue. So you can see here that Josh said, I'm leaving. Well, you've got to put that comma there before you jump into those quotation marks. Okay, so, and then again, see where the period is? It's on the inside of the quotation marks. So I know that we talked about this earlier in the year, so this is like just a quick refresher. Make sure that you guys keep this in mind as you go. And then rule number 4, indent each time a new speaker is saying something. Okay, so every time, I don't know, Josh is saying something, or what was the other guy? Jake. Anytime that they're saying things, you're going to want to make sure that you indent. Okay, this brings us to the actual assignment. This is going to be assignment number 14, and you guys will see it in your Google Classroom, and it's just called, you can see up here, number 14, narrative writing dialogue. Okay, so what I did is I created a small paragraph with some dialogue, and I used all 4 of those rules and used them correctly. Okay, so are you ready to go, Daryl? See, there's that question mark on the inside of the quotation marks. Called mom from the bottom of the staircase, comma, it's almost 10 o'clock. So again, that comma is going to set apart that thing that mom is saying. Now you'll notice that both of these lines, mom is the one talking. So we only indented for her. But when we see Daryl jump into the conversation, or I don't know, whatever your story is saying, like the time you go to the next character, you're going to indent again. So Daryl looked around his room, making sure he had his soccer cleats, jersey, and water bottle. I'm on my way, comma. See how that comma is again inside those quotation marks? Daryl responded as he ran down the stairs. Daryl and his mom walked briskly to their car to avoid the raindrops that were beginning to splash down. I see some quotation marks because, again, we know someone's talking. And you guys see how there was another indentation? I hope the tournament doesn't get canceled, comma. Daryl wailed, sliding into the passenger seat. So this was one big clump, and I was able to, hit the enter button and use an indentation, so like the tab button, to create this, all these dialogue rules, making sure that they were being used correctly. So this paragraph is 100% correct. This is what I want to see from you guys. So what I did for you is down here, you have another paragraph, okay? But it's not done correctly, okay? So your job is to read through this, and I want you to put the quotation marks where they need to go. I want to see correct punctuation. If there is a comma, make sure the comma gets in there. If it needs to be indented, again, because somebody else is speaking or the story is moving on, make sure that you're doing those. Okay, so our paragraph is about Caleb and Jocelyn. Okay, so Caleb spotted Jocelyn out of the corner of his eye. He jogged, oh, that's supposed to say jog. I'll fix that on yours. He jogged over to her locker. Do you have the algebra notes from class yesterday? I left early for a doctor's appointment and I didn't copy everything down. Sure, Jocelyn replied. Here you go. Thanks, Caleb said. I'll get them back to you before the end of the day. No hurry, responded Jocelyn. So you guys, I am going to push this out so that every student gets a copy of this and you can make your edits right on this doc. And when you're finished, you'll go back to the Google Classroom page and hit turn in and it will send a copy right to me. Thanks for sticking with me, guys. You have been fabulous through the past 7 weeks and keep it up.